We all know the story. Judas Iscariot, the traitor, the disciple who sold Jesus out for 30 pieces of silver. But what if that story is incomplete? What if Judas wasn't betraying Jesus, but carrying out a sacred mission? Today we explore one of the most controversial and fascinating texts ever discovered, the Gospel of Judas. And it may just rewrite everything you thought you knew about loyalty, sacrifice, and the path to spiritual truth. The Gospel of Judas was lost for over 600 years. Then in the 1970s, a crumbling papyrus codex surfaced in Egypt. It wasn't until 2006 that scholars were finally able to translate and publish the text. Written in Coptic and dating back to the 2nd century, this gospel doesn't tell the story of betrayal. It tells the story of intimate trust, secret teachings, and spiritual liberation. And at its heart is a Jesus who sees Judas not as a traitor, but as the only disciple who truly understands him. In one of the most intriguing moments in the text, Jesus laughs, not out of cruelty, but out of revelation. Here's the scene. Jesus approaches his disciples and finds them engaged in a pious observance. They're offering prayers, likely giving thanks over bread and performing what may be an early form of sacred ritual, perhaps even a prototype of the Eucharist. But instead of joining them, Jesus laughs. The disciples are disturbed, offended even. They ask, "Teacher, why are you laughing at our prayer of thanksgiving? What have we done?" Jesus responds, "You are not doing this because of your own will, but because it is through this that your God will be praised." This isn't mockery, it's spiritual irony. In Gnostic cosmology, the material world is ruled by a false creator, a lesser divine being called the demiurge. Jesus sees that the disciples are still worshiping this lower power, stuck in ritual and illusion, mistaking form for truth. All except one, Judas. Judas doesn't just follow, he questions. He challenges Jesus, he confesses confusion. And in return, Jesus offers him something extraordinary, secret knowledge, hidden truths about the cosmos, divine realms beyond this world, and the soul's journey to liberation. Jesus tells Judas, "You will exceed all of them, for you will sacrifice the man that clothes me." This mysterious phrase is key. In Gnostic thought, the body is a temporary shell, a garment that houses the divine spark. So Judas's role? To help Jesus shed the physical body and return to the true spiritual realm, not betrayal, liberation. The Gospel of Judas is grounded in Gnostic philosophy, a spiritual worldview that views the material world as a prison and gnosis or inner knowledge as the path to freedom. In this version of the story, Judas becomes the only disciple who can see beyond the illusion. He's not Jesus' enemy, he's the only one who truly understands his mission. While the others are busy performing rituals to a God they don't understand, Judas receives cosmic visions and spiritual truths from Jesus himself. So why didn't we grow up reading this version? Because it was too dangerous. By the 4th century, Christianity had become the official religion of the Roman Empire. Spiritual diversity was no longer welcome. Unity meant power, dissent meant division. The Gospel of Judas was labeled heresy, buried, and nearly forgotten. Why? Because it challenges everything. Who is righteous? What is obedience? And who really understands the divine? Here are just a few lines from the Gospel of Judas that continue to spark reflection. "You will sacrifice the man that clothes me." Jesus to Judas. "Lift up your eyes and look at the cloud and the light within it and the stars surrounding it. The star that leads the way is your star." A vision given to Judas. This isn't a story about treachery, it's a spiritual mystery, a mirror reflecting something deeper about surrender, trust, and transformation. What if Judas wasn't the villain? What if true spiritual service sometimes looks like rebellion? And what if the path to awakening means breaking free from old structures, even if it means being misunderstood? In this light, Judas isn't a warning. He's a mirror. For anyone who's ever asked hard questions, followed intuition, or chosen truth over tradition. The Gospel of Judas doesn't offer easy answers. It challenges, it provokes, it invites. But maybe that's exactly what spiritual growth looks like. So, what do you think? Was Judas a traitor, or was he chosen? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if this stirred something in you, subscribe. Because in part 4, we go straight to the core of it all, Gnosticism, the hidden teachings of the soul.